What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a brawler which is taking the meta by swarm. This brawler could honestly be like a top 5 brawler within the meta. Maybe pros are overreacting a little bit, but this brawler is incredibly strong. So before we jump into it, make sure you're using a creator code. That'd be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. Alright guys, jumping into the brawler which is breaking Brawl Stars right now, we have Otis. So Otis, since his balance change, has literally became one of the best brawlers within the game, which to my surprise, I honestly didn't think that this buff would actually do too much to Otis. I think it would make him a little bit more viable, but watching competitive the past 2 days, if you guys are unaware, like Queso Cup yesterday, I can put links to both competitive games I was watching, and it literally goes to show like how strong brawlers are in the meta. And literally over the 2 competitions today in ESL and yesterday in Queso Cup, Otis was either banned or played every single time. Literally every single time. Even on Bounty Shooting Star, I've seen Otis being banned. I've seen in Knockout Otis being played and banned as well. Especially if the enemy team has that first pick, you need to ban out Otis because he's so particularly strong. So the reason why I think he's actually risen a lot in the meta is not because of his toxic super. I just think his main attack mechanic makes him incredibly versatile. You can think back to Eve in the meta, for example, where she could just literally be played everywhere because she has such a basic attack which can have a lot of range. Same goes to Otis. He's just really usable everywhere, and you can't really have too many counters to him because of his super right once that gets charged up. So that's going to be the first game. Let's hop into the next one. Alright guys, jumping into the next game then. So let me know what you think of Otis right now, whether you think pros are overreacting or whether you think he's actually incredibly strong. One underrated thing which I always liked about Otis, even when he was pretty trash, is using him on grassy maps with vision gear. I think he's really strong with the vision gear. You've seen a lot right now in competitive. I think center stage is the main map for it, where there's just so much grass. Otis just counters so many different brawlers because of his attack mechanic. But I thought he might not have been the strongest at longer range maps just because like his shots seem a bit awkward to hit at long range. But as I said, Shooting Star, you've seen a lot of Otis. I just think this brawler is incredibly strong right now, and honestly could be in and around the top 5 brawlers in the game if it carries on and the meta doesn't like develop. Sometimes like brawlers can go in and out of the meta just depending on whether people can find counters to it. But Otis just seems like that really flexible brawler where he's pretty much good against everything, right? So yeah, watch out for Otis in the meta. He's climbing up so incredibly strong. Also as well, another map to note which I've seen him being used probably to its best ability is Kaboom Canyon Heist, which again may become a little bit of a surprise to you guys, but it was absolutely wrecking it. I think I seen Drage on the Otis yesterday in Queso, and Otis was just such a strong pick, and it is pretty weird. He literally was one of the worst brawlers in the game. He did get a good change to his super. It allows you to just stop the regen of the enemies, which a lot of people did suggest this change to Otis. Like Otis super was good, right? But the problem with it is that it didn't really have like a stun effect, like a slow effect or anything like that, and just made it a little bit obsolete. But this poison tick definitely does help you finish off a lot of kills. So that's going to be another game. Let's hop into the next one. Alright guys, jumping into the next game then. So I think they were thinking about as well before with the balance changes, they were thinking of course to change the supercharge rate, which would have broken Otis even more. Like imagine if Otis had a supercharge rate buff where it'd only take 3 pieces of, well, I think it was like 9 hits or something to charge a super instead of, I believe it is 12, which would have been an absolutely insane buff. So hopefully we can kill with Jesse here. I'm just going to throw out my super onto the Mortis, so you can't even pass to his Fang right there, which is just absolutely hilarious to see. And I just love the fact that you can cycle your super so quick, plus the poison effect anyway kind of is that supercharger buff, right? I forgot how much charges. I think it charges a quarter of it, which is just pretty insane. You only need a little bit more shots onto the enemy to really charge that super, which before it was just so hard to charge his super. Like it took so long because a lot of people just wouldn't feed it, and other brawlers just had such a more bigger influence on the game, and that's why Otis wasn't the best beforehand, right? So that's completely changed. He can cycle a super a lot faster. His shot is just good against everything. And I don't think he has really like an absolute counter right now, just because of the way he is. Let me know who you think the strongest counter is to Otis. It's definitely not going to be any aggressive brawlers, because just look at that. I can just mute a Mortis right there. The poison will tick away as well. So even if you super a brawler like far away, you'll still get some value, right? Because you'll get like a quarter of your super back. You'll get a little bit of damage as well. That's one thing as well that I hated about Otis. Like you could of course, like throw out your super and try and get someone long range. It's quite hard to hit, and then also if you do of course use your super on someone at range, a lot of times they can just escape, get away, and of course that super's going to be really trash. So I wasn't paying attention there, completely forgot that Jesse was in the bush, which is pretty damn bad. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to try him out in Power League probably tomorrow just to confirm. I like myself. I haven't had a ton of time to playtest Otis, but just from watching competitive and seeing the pros play it, there is no better way of judging how strong a brawler is than looking at competitive gameplay, looking at the stats, looking at the ban rates. That's probably going to be the biggest tale as to like who's the strongest, guys, is the ban rate, because those are the brawlers that the pros just cannot seem to counter whatsoever. So that's going to be another win. Let's hop into the next one. All right, guys, jumping into potentially the final game here. So let me know whether you're going to like an Otis meta. A lot of people, a lot of content creators, I think Ash was the biggest one that really didn't want Otis to become meta just because there won't be too much counterplay to it. So now we're starting to see the start of the Otis meta. So let me know whether you're going to like this meta. I think it could be pretty toxic just because, as Ash said, there's little counterplay to the super of Otis, but I don't think that's actually the strongest thing about him, which is pretty nice. Else, as I said, it would be pretty toxic. Like, the best thing about him is just his versatility. Like, now his shots actually deal damage. Like, you can actually mute someone. I don't even know what the super's called. I think it's called mute. You can mute someone and then you can actually like kill them pretty quickly. And with the damage gear as well, it's actually a substantial amount of damage. You cannot for sure ignore it like you could have before. So we're going to kill Gale right here. Might be able to get some decent shots onto Poco. And we're just going to wait for Mortis. Okay. No, we're not. We're just going to completely fail. I actually completely forgot as well that you can actually super someone with that respawn bubble. So I should have just threw out that super just a lot quicker, but I thought I had to wait to respawn, and then I completely well, I did remember that you can actually throw a super onto someone that's respawning. So that's actually a pretty dumb mechanic as well, that you can literally just throw it onto someone with a respawn bubble. Like before, like normally like stuff like that isn't affected when you're respawning, right? So yeah, hopefully that gets changed in the future. We're just gonna, okay, no, we're gonna throw super out of wall. Perfect. And yeah, they're going to score off that. Yeah, I mean, you can tell I've hardly played any Brawl Stars the past few days. I'm pretty newbie right now. And also the gadget, I kind of like it. Like, it's not really, like, really overwhelming, right? But it does help you scan the grass. It does, like, force the enemies out into a position where they probably wouldn't have wanted to go. Beforehand, we're going to use our super onto the Poco. Okay, I thought I could... I don't know who I thought I was then. I thought I could actually get into a decent position to score, but I should have just probably gone for the damage. So I've got to be careful of this Gale, specifically in Brawl, because once he gets his super, it's near enough a goal every single time. I actually switched off the vision gear this time around just to test out the damage gear, because he can do a lot of damage with that active. Let's see, there's a Poco lying in here. We're just going to run it into him because we know our super will just charge it back anyway. That's going to be him taken down. I just feel bad for brawlers that are literally in Otis's face, because there's just no way they're going to be able to do anything against them. So you can see here, you can get the super onto Poco and he just can't do anything. I just feel so bad for him. So I do make amends for what I did earlier, but imagine that you're respawning, you should be able to use some form of ability, right? But no, Otis can just super you from a mile away and just mute all of that. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm pretty excited to test out this new meta. Maybe it might be a little bit too toxic, but it's nice to see a brawler that was really bad upon release actually feel a little bit more fun because it's stronger. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.